I didn't actually prepare any slides on the basis that I didn't actually know which talk I was giving out of the four, so I decided to do some flashcards for the talk. So I'm going to talk about mifair first. For people who don't know what mifair is, Philips, or now NXP Semiconductors, produced an RFID tag called mifair a number of years ago now. And it's basically passive RFID, only it's slightly more intelligent, because traditional passive RFID will only give you a serial number. So you give it an induced voltage via a coil, and it gives you a serial number, and you can't do an awful lot with it. So, and it's also really easy to spoof. So physical tokens, either a card or a fob, and they come in a 1K or a 4K format. Those are formatted internally on 16-byte blocks, and you get 4 blocks per sector. And the 16 sectors in a 1K card. So, special purpose of block 0, sector 0 is that block 0, sector 0 has the manufacturer's ID information and the card serial number. Because mifair, whilst it does more complicated stuff, still has a card serial number. Blocks 1, 2 and 3, well, blocks 1 and 2 are data in all the other sectors, and also sector 0. Block 0 in all the other sectors, apart from sector 0, is also data. So you get 3 blocks per sector apart from the first one. And then block 3 is the sector trailer, which has 2 security keys and access bits, and you can define which security keys are allowed to read, write, which are allowed to see the keys, etc. It's quite a flexible access system. So you effectively end up with 15 sectors of 3 blocks, which is 720 bytes. So that's all very well and good for static allocation of your applications to a sector. Say you've got access control, for example, which I'll come on to later. So if you want to put your access control in sector 2, and you put your access control in sector 2, and you present your card to the reader, and the reader says, I want sector 2, here's my key, and that's fine. But say you've got 15 applications and your card's full, or you've got 30 applications and you know that the usage of the applications isn't going to overlap. There's something called mifair application directory. And in the 2 data blocks of sector 0, you put a mifair application ID, which then tells you which sector which application is in. So you can dynamically move your applications around your card, and the reader will actually know where to find it. It's a 2-stage operation. Then it needs to read the mifair application directory, find out which sector it's in, then go and read the sector. So it's slightly more complicated implementation rather. And basically you register your mifair application ID and away you go. The added advantage of that is if you've got a wallet full of mifair cards and you've got your Oyster card and your Lancaster University card or whatever, various organisations that use mifair, because it's looking for a specific application ID in the mifair application directory, it will pick out the right card and talk to your sector without you needing to take it from your wallet. So it's all good. Now, mifair was utterly owned, which is somewhat of a problem. The random number generator on the card wasn't random, and the Chaos Computer Club discovered that if you powered it up and controlled the time interval between powering the card up using the induction coil and actually doing things with the reader and things, it was predictable and you could spoof it. And they demonstrated this in December 2007, just after Lancaster University had agreed to go with mifair. So, which was rather annoying. And the Chaos Computer guys actually took some kind of plane, microplane to the card, and then put the card in an electron microscope and reverse engineered the components on the card. It was very hardcore. What do we do now? Well, you'll be pleased to know there's mifair DESFire, which has triple DES encryption over the wire, and since the introduction of the EV1 card, it actually does AES encryption over the wire as well. And it's very much the same as the classic mifair, which I didn't actually say, it was the old one's called mifair Classic. And basically, it has the same principle of application IDs, and you give it an application ID, only mifair DESFire actually has a directory structure. So you go into the card and you have so many files. So you can go into the card with your application ID and retrieve a file. So it's not just one piece of data within the sector. That's me done. Any questions?